Welcome to Mastery Podcast, where story reveals the secret to an empowered and abundant life. Today, we have with us Dawn Drew. Dawn is a true catalyst for transformation. She's an author, a speaker, a teacher, and a soul coach. She's committed to values like joy, beauty, creativity, authenticity, and excellence. Dawn also runs a successful home staging business and offers a 6-week class called Jumpstart Joy, tailored for busy women seeking more joy in their life. She believes that our world is best served by her joy, not by her suffering. Welcome, Dawn. Thank you for being here. And I give everybody a hug, but I can't get up today. Because of the mic is here. Virtual hug, like air hug. We call that air hug. Thank you for being here, Dawn.
Thanks for having me.
Nice to have you here. Your brand is called Joy and Ease, right? What's the story behind that? What stimulated you to create Joy and Ease?
Well, it came from the cry of my own soul. As a mom, busy entrepreneur, wife, mother of 4, helping in the community. We wear many hats as women. And I found myself incredibly exhausted. And the thought of doing more years of this was I can't imagine another 20, 30, 40 years of my life being exhausted all the time. And so I had spent a year where I had a friend challenge me, what is it that you want to leave in the year behind as we go into the new year? And I knew right away it was people pleasing. I was done with people pleasing. But when I spent the next year and I thought, what is it that I want for myself? Up from the depths of my being came the words joy and ease. I want more joy in my life. I want more ease. And I began to suspect that I was living my life in a way that I was making it harder for myself. And I knew that the way that I was living, as successful as I was not sustainable if I wanted a long and quality life. What are we working so hard for if we're not in joy and finding the ease of life?
Right. And you work mainly with busy women, right? And I was one of those. I still at times cannot get away from being so busy. And, as a successful business owner and career woman, you just find yourself busy doing. And, what is your advice for women in that situation? I know you created a book, right? And you also had the workshop, Jumpstart Joy. That's my class. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about Jumpstart Joy?
Yes. Jumpstart Joy came out of the book that I've written, which is Joy and Ease. Are you ready to change your life? And that was the challenge and looking at that. And so Jumpstart Joy is a class that's designed to kind of go along with what I had written in the book. And it's just a 6-week class. And we take many of the places where we're looking for joy in our life. What about our relationship to others? So often as women, we are people pleasing.
Yeah.
We are driven more by shame, guilt, fear than we are from joy. And so if we want to shift that, we get to be intentional. We get to begin to ask ourselves questions. So in my book, I talk about the 3 tools that we take on the journey for more joy and ease. And that's courage, curiosity, and compassion.
Courage, curiosity, compassion. Beautiful. Why are those 3?
Courage. It takes courage to live a life of joy. It takes no courage at all to be miserable. Many people are making a lifetime out of it. But to live out of a place of joy is to step out of the crowd, is to begin to listen to yourself and make decisions on the basis of what you want and what you are passionate about. And that takes courage.
I believe you.
And what I find working with women, we can be a little bit embarrassed about wanting to live out of joy because we live in a society that says work is the thing that we measure our life by. How often at the end of the day, we're saying something like, oh, I didn't get anything done today. Where if we listed what we actually got done, it was probably quite a lot, but there's always more to be done. When we begin to measure our day in joy, we measure differently. We're still working. I love to work. I love to have impact. I love to make a difference. But I am now measuring from the place of joy and what brings me joy and the joy that I bring to the world. And I feel like the world is better served from that center. So we have courage and we have curiosity. Curiosity is a great tool because we can get in self-judgment. We can get in a place of pain and we can get stuck. Curiosity is the tool of the open-hearted and the open-minded. And so when we ask questions, we can listen to ourselves and we can listen to others with that openness that allows for answers and change to come into our life. So curiosity is the thing that allows me to set down self-judgment and find solutions. And then compassion. We all think about having compassion on others, but oftentimes we have the least compassionate with ourselves. So I always say compassion begins first with ourselves. Mm-hmm. So when fear rises up, we're being courageous. And our first thought is to tamp down on that fear or to tell ourselves, logic our way out of our emotions. Compassion says, tell me more. There, sweetie. You've been really courageous today. Of course you're feeling afraid. I made a mistake. Oh, I just want to die. Shame comes in, guilt, that inner critic. Compassion brings the kindness that we need, and it soothes the soul.
Yeah, I believe that in order to serve the world better, right, you gotta be good right here first. You can't put an oxygen mask on someone when you're suffocating. Mm-hmm. So you have to come up for air first to do the work that you're here to do.
And liken it to being a beggar. And so I see myself with a cup going out into the world, working, but I've not filled my own cup. Mm-hmm. And when I bring that to the world as a beggar, I never know what someone's going to fill it with.
Right.
And when I prioritize my joy and I realize that I am responsible how I feel and how I show up in the world, everything else begins to line up and I release other people. It's just a much cleaner way to live.
Right. Absolutely. The three things that you told us about, courage, curiosity, and compassion, right? All these are in your book. Are there tools that comes with it that you describe in your book that help us with that courage? I know a lot of people go into victim mode, right? This happened to me. And I'm just gonna, I had that too. I mean, we all are human, right? There are times when we feel like we just want to be victim. And what can people do to like get out of that mode of like, this happened to me. I'm just gonna, pack up my stuff, go into the cave and meditate all day. That happened to me many times.
But yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. One of the things that's really important is that we honor our emotions. Mm-hmm. And I can say as a woman in the world, I have felt far more embarrassment and shame over having my emotions.
Yeah.
And so when we have those hits, allowing ourselves to feel those feelings allows them to move through us. Mm-hmm. And so bringing compassion to us having the emotions and understanding that our emotions are actually a gift. I refer to them as part of the inner guidance system. Mm-hmm. We have our emotions. We have our body. Our body does not have the ability to lie to us. And we have our thoughts. So I had a situation where I had an ugly thought come up about someone, or what we'd say in the South. That was just an ugly thought. And it's not a thought that I would normally have about someone. And when I've learned to stop and look at my thought and say, wait, I don't normally have a thought like that. Let me stop and be aware. Now wisdom comes in because I got a clue. And so if we will live with ourselves more gently, we will pass through that place where we need to go away and be away. But we honor it because sometimes we need that time, right? But then we also need connection. So it's not judging the journey. Mm-hmm. It is giving ourselves permission to have the journey. And then we have a more authentic one versus motivating ourselves through what I call the three tyrants: shame, guilt, and fear. Mm-hmm. You should be here. You should be doing this. Yeah. And we get in reaction to it instead of living out of those places, wanting to be led by love. Or for me, joy is the evidence of love. Because love sometimes can get twisted in our society. I have done a lot of things. I know a lot of women. We've done a lot of things in the name of love that have been less than loving and certainly not loving to myself. But joy cannot be counterfeited. And so it's a truer measure of when I'm actually in alignment with myself and living well.
Nice. Thank you for that. I know we are evolving, right? And we are learning every day. And to have the tools like that, even though you know it, I've heard what you say before. It's a great reminder, right? And some people would tell me like, you can't control your thoughts. I was like, yeah, you can. I mean, thoughts come in. You can learn to respond to it, right? It comes in like you did. You respond to it like, oh, I normally don't have this thought. What do I do? Yeah.
We can choose new thought habits. And so I oftentimes tell the story of my daughter when she was little and she was having, every parent knows this, the bedtime meltdowns.
Yeah.
Oh no, I have to go to bed. I don't want to go to bed. And my whole goal is like my night begins when you go to bed and there's the zoo tomorrow. So you've got to get sleep or tomorrow's not going to be pretty. And so practicing with her saying, when you hold this thought of having to go to bed and I let those emotions rise up and she felt it. And close your eyes. We're going to think about going to the zoo tomorrow. Oh, you saw the joy just rise up within her. And understanding these things both can be true at the same time. One thought does not support me. Now, if I want to be miserable, I will give myself permission to be miserable, but understand it's not that we don't take hits and we have our moment, but will we move through that and choose something that supports us in the journey, or will we make our life harder for ourselves and ask other people to make us feel better?
Nice. So in that case, you taught your daughter to focus on the joy of going to the zoo instead of the drudgery of like trying to put herself to bed. Nice.
And there are periods of grief. We take real hits in our life.
Yes.
And so these tools, they are not meant to beat ourselves up. If we are doing that, they are not the tools that we should be using. So grief needs its own rhythm and does not need to be shamed. You just need to focus on the positive. We sit with grief and we allow it to be our teacher.
Right.
And when there are moments where a choice opens up, we take them.
So beautiful. Thank you for that. So this book that you have, there are 3 sections to it. I think it's about relationship. Can you explain a little bit about that part of your book?
Yeah, thanks for asking. There are 3 sections to the book, and it kind of parallels my journey. The first section is our relationship with others and what can go awry, because we need some practical tools and what happens in our relationships. So we deal heavily with people pleasing, which tends to be something we women especially carry. The second section of the book, because my conclusion is it's not a problem that I love other people. I am not connected enough with myself. So the second section is how do we connect with ourselves? And then we're in our authentic power. So all the people who have been telling us, you just need to set boundaries. And I find my boundaries are more dashed lines than solid lines. We're looking at how do we connect authentically with ourselves so that we occupy our space and make decisions from that place. The third is then our relationship with work. And we talk about the Western culture and the work, earn, deserve paradigm. And then what do we do in order to change our lives in the midst of it? So I'm all about the practical tools and where do we begin? Because it's great to have these aha moments, but they have to be practiced in real life if we're going to see change.
Nice. I love how you organize the book into 3 sections, and it's all the relationships, right? And as women, and you mentioned it, we complicate it, right? And judging ourselves too much and always overwork to prove that you are something better than who the great you already. And the relationship with work is very important for us to understand. With that said, what is the one tool, right? If women out there, if they can do anything, just one thing today, what will be that one thing?
Okay, so we're going to get nitty gritty. I tell women to begin paying attention to their resentment. Resentment is a red flag. I'm doing something I don't want to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I continue to push through, it becomes sickness in my body. Or so many things go awry. So resentment is not a bad thing. It's a red flag. And so if we're going to begin to live out of joy, if you have lived out of balance enough, there's probably a place of pain or resentment there. That's the good place to start with courage, curiosity, and compassion. Ask some questions around it, but be kind to yourself because you let yourself get to that place. It's a journey.
It is a journey. But thank you so much, Dawn, for being here. It's so nice having this conversation with you. And I'm looking forward to reading your book. I'm definitely going to check it out. And where can we find you?
You can get it on Amazon. And then if you're curious about working with me, you can find me at joyandease.live or joyandease.live, spelled the same way. And I do individual sessions. There are group classes. And of course, you can order my book directly from my website, but easily on Amazon. Joy and Ease. Are you ready to change your life?
Joy and Ease. Are you ready to change your life? I am ready to be joyful and to be comfortable. That's what Ease is about. Thank you so much, Dawn, for being here.